Hi my lovelies, welcome back to my channel, and for everybody who is new, I'm Leorah and I'm so glad you found me. So welcome to today's video where we're going to talk about all my pink palettes, maybe not all of them but most of them, and that is of course kind of the Valentine's dedicated video because of course all of these palettes will have a Valentine's theme in the traditional sense, okay? Because of course I personally feel like you can be all Valentine in all green and in blue and in all kinds of other colors. So for me personally it doesn't have to be pink, but of course in the traditional understanding it will be pink palettes, and that is what I want to show you today. There will be some that are well known, there will be some that maybe you have not seen at all yet, so I think that could be really interesting, and most of them I have tried, so I can also give you a bit of a story about it and my experience and stuff. Okay, so sweetie, if you've just found me, I'm Leorah. I'm a makeup artist and stylist living for colorful makeup and colorful styling. Not so much right now with the styling because, sweetie, this is because it's winter and in my country it's most of the time summer and I don't have a lot of winter clothes, so I'm kind of a little bit limited right now, but just wait till the summer, okay sweeties? Okay, so that is what I'm doing. Please feel free to check out my social media, which is linked in the description box down below, and of course my channel, and subscribe if you like it here because I would love to have you here. Alright sweeties, let us go right in. Let us maybe start with something that I really like, and I hope that I can always tell you what is still available and what not. If I'm wrong, then just sorry, okay? So this is that one. Sweeties, I still love this one so bad. This is from Juvia's Place. This is the Sweet Pinks palette. It is just £6, and that is of course not my really like what I like the most because I prefer bigger palettes, but the pinks in this palette are just so outstanding and so beautiful, and oh dear Lord. I think I've done only 2 looks with this palette, I have to say, but sweeties, this is so blissful, and I know that some of you are really into pinks, and I have recommended this palette left and right because it is just so gorgeous. This of course launched quite some time ago, but yeah, this is so beautiful. I would always recommend this one to like whoever is into pinks. Now for me personally, wait, bringing it back, for me personally, I would probably add a little bit more depth in the palette because it is kind of mid-range overall. I mean, from afar you can see that this one is the darkest shade, but overall it is not really a dark shade, at least not for me. So I would probably make the palette at least double the size and just add a few more like super dark pinks or like a super dark red or something, you know, just to give a little bit more oomph. But for a £6 palette and for pinks, I think it's so cute. Plus it's called Sweet Pinks, it's not like brutal pinks. I would probably come out with a brutal pinks palette because it would be more forceful than this one, but this is Sweet Pinks and I think it works completely fine and it's beautiful. Okay, now let us also talk about this one, which probably everybody knows. This is of course one of the Novina palettes from ABH. This is the Novina Volume 4. And this is, I think, the softest of all of them, and it looks like this. And also here you do have some really striking pinks in it, but of course the overwhelming the overwhelming feeling that you get when you look at the palette is very soft. Also of course quite an amount of neutrals and like really soft pinkish shades, and also kind of corally shades and stuff like this, but super soft. But also this, I would say, for the right person, it would be a Valentine's pink palette, you know, soft and sweet and romantic and all of that. So definitely also something that I could recommend because the performance is really nice, and of course size wise this is way more my thing than a £6 palette, so this would keep me busy for a longer time than £6, you know. So that is definitely something I would recommend. Now something else I would absolutely recommend, and it is not 100% a Valentine's palette, but I would say mostly is this one. This is the Strawberry palette from Alien Cosmetics, or now Unearthly Cosmetics, and it looks like this. Now when you look at this palette and you just subtract those greens here, you will have a Valentine's palette, definitely. And of course if you want to combine it with a green, you know, the more the merrier, like whatever. But just saying that these shades in here are super, super beautiful also for Valentine's looks. And if you have this palette, maybe you don't even need to buy another new release, because, you know, you have it all here. So also, of course, the formula is really, really nice, and I personally absolutely love this palette. It's so, so beautiful. I think it's one of the most spectacular palettes from Alien Cosmetics or Unearthly Cosmetics so far, personally, for me. You know, it has the super depth, it has the oomph, it has like this brutal character when it comes to makeup, and I really, really like that. Plus, you can also go super soft, so what else do you want, right? So this is a really, really cool palette. And of course, as you know, I'm affiliated with Alien Cosmetics or Unearthly Cosmetics. I do have a code with them in case you want to use it. All of them are down in the description box. Now, another one that actually just really, really surprised me when I went through my palettes is actually this one. Do you remember this one? This is from Beauty Bay, from the Beauty Bay brand, and this was the collaboration with NikkieTutorials. Do you remember this palette? This one. Okay, so of course you do have some pops of colors here and also some neutrals, but overall I would say this could absolutely work as a palette for Valentine's Day if you have this palette already, or, you know, maybe you want to pick it up, because also the formula was super, super nice in this palette, definitely. And you know what, because maybe you know that sometimes I do have a bit of a problem with the shimmer formula of the Beauty Bay brand, but with this palette I did not have any issues. So I think she did super, super well, NikkieTutorials, when she created this palette, even though I was surprised how unwild it is. I mean, you can go wild with this palette, but I think it is limited in how wild it is. It is way more soft than it is wild. And I was very surprised because I thought that she would go all in. But you know, this is probably then the bigger side of her, and that's totally fine, you know. So that is the palette, and I personally really, really like the performance of this one. I got this gifted from one of my besties. Yeah, so sometimes I forget to tell you how I got it, but sometimes I also just don't remember. And okay, now let us talk about something that I absolutely do not like, and that is the Beauty Crop. That is the Strawberry Daiquiri palette. I've spoken about this brand before. Now, don't get me wrong, if I say I did not like this product, doesn't mean that everything from this brand is bad. It is really just that I did not like this product, unless I tell you that I have tried more and that I really didn't like anything, you know. But in this case, it's really just this palette. This is the Strawberry Daiquiri palette, and of course this is a very, very obvious choice, I think, for, of course, this whole video. But the performance I really did not like. Did not like it at all. So, but I just wanted to show you, and of course, as always, please make up your own mind. Try the brands, don't believe me, try it for yourself. But just according to my experience, I did not like it. All right, so beyond that, let us go on to something that I actually really, really liked, and that was the VIP palette from Artitude Cosmetics. This launched a little bit more than a year ago, and I also reviewed this one on my channel, and I thought this was a very, very beautiful palette, very regal, very mature, and kind of really super sexy. Also, of course, with nice depth. Less so with the pinks, beyond, of course, this fuchsia shade here, but still, I think it has this Valentine's vibe, this romantic, but kind of like into the direction of like really mature vibes, you know. And I think this was also a very, very good palette in case this is something that you prefer to all this like super pink and stuff, you know, because that can just serve you as well. Okay, so this is the VIP palette, or VIP exclusive, I think it was, from Artitude Cosmetics. Now let us also talk about this one. This is the Basically Addict palette from Viseart. Now let me just take this out. I wanted this so bad, so bad. It was such a hassle to get this to me, but this is how she looks. Also, this one is, again, of course, a pinkish palette, but also with a lot of neutral options and also some corally shades. This one, I think, is so overhyped. I think this was a limited edition. I don't know if this is available anymore. I thought it was beautiful, and that's why I so badly wanted it. But I think when I tried it, I was really, really disappointed, because I had hyped this up in my head that this is Viseart and this must be so special and it must be so. But sweeties, it wasn't. at all. It's just like, I don't know, it's just as good or as bad as anything else. There was nothing that where I would say, wow, it's totally worth to pay a price like this. Absolutely not. It was okay, you know, but do I need to pay like $1 million for a palette like this? No, absolutely not. And I would not do it again, you know, because there is so much out there from indie brands that I would much rather support. But honestly, I just really wanted to try Viseart. So, and this was a really, really beautiful release, but it wasn't worth the money and it wasn't worth the hassle to get it. Seriously not. Okay, sweeties, then let's also talk about something that is actually really, really cute if you like very, very big and chunky and big packaging, and that is P.Louise the Love Tapes palette. This was the first thing I had in mind when I thought about making this video because it's so obvious. Okay, so wait, let me just open this, and this is how she looks. Wait. Oh dear, so this is really, really big. Of course, you do have, actually the palette is not that big, but it is of course like in a tape, in a music tape shape, basically. And then you do have two highlighters here. One is a little bit more golden and one is a little bit more champagne-y. And then of course this palette. Now the palette itself shade-wise is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I feel though that the recent palettes from P.Louise, when it comes to the formula, are absolutely superior. I did not enjoy this one that much. It was not bad or anything. I just really, really feel that the recent palettes from P.Louise are so good. And this one was kind of, yeah, you know, it was normal makeup, and there's nothing bad about that. It's just that I like the new formula more. Now again, I do not know, nobody has told me or leaked it to me that they actually do have a new formula. Maybe it is just me that I'm feeling it differently now, or that I have different preferences now. So you know, I don't know, but I worked with this palette. I liked it. Was it overwhelmingly amazing? I would say no. It was just like a normal palette, you know, a very huge normal palette. All right, but in any case, let me know what you think about this palette in the comments if you have it. Then let's also talk about something that was actually really, really cute, and this is this is from Nabla. This is the Wildberry palette of the Cutie palettes. You know, of course, this one is very, very dark. You also do have, of course, the Coral palette that is within the Cutie palettes, which is way, way lighter and more corally, if that is something that you like more. But when it comes to like mauve shades and pinks, well, it's not really pink here, but if you're not scared of darker colors, then this could be maybe an option for a kind of pinkish palette. It's not really, but yeah. So that is what it is. I think also this one was really, really nice. I had no problems with this. I actually do like the Cutie palettes for the most part. I don't own any of the bigger palettes from Nabla, so I've heard very, very mixed reviews about the bigger palettes and honestly also about the smaller ones. But this one I happen to really, really like, and also the Coral one I happen to really, really like. So that is what I could recommend. The other ones I can't really say much about. Okay, then let's talk about this one. This is from Lois Cosmetics, and this is the Rose Meadow palette. This launched maybe 2 years ago, maybe. And this is how she looks. Also, this one is, of course, including a lot of neutrals, but also mauve tones, and it is a very, very sophisticated palette with the option of going like really, really sexy and you know, dramatic, but also of course with the option of going really, really light and romantic and gentle and kind of girly even, you know, like really. So this is also a very, very cute palette with very, very good performance, which I have used a lot for my weekend looks when I do softer looks, so that I could definitely also recommend. Lois Cosmetics is a very, very good brand that I definitely would recommend. It's based in England, so just, or in the UK, just so you know, if you're based in Europe and it's maybe a little bit easier or faster to get, then that could absolutely be an option for you. But of course, if you're in America or somewhere else, then just as well. Okay, sweeties, let's talk about Poppy Cosmetics. They came out, I want to say maybe also 2 years ago by now, or is it just one? No, I want to say 2, with the Neon Drip palette, and this is how she looks. Now, of course, this is not exclusively a pink palette. It has, of course, also orange and then 2 pops of green in it and a yellow, but still, I think overall this has a very, very cute vibe, a cute Valentine's vibe, springtime vibe, and all of that to it, and the performance was very solid. So also here, I would personally like it if there would be more depth in the palette, because that is just my personal preference, but overall I think this is a very, very cute palette. I have not heard from Poppy Cosmetics in quite some time. I hope they're doing okay. So that is what it is, in case you want to check that one out. So I don't know what is happening with that brand. You have to check. Okay, then Ace Beaute, also a very, very obvious one that probably a lot of you know, is the Blossom Passion. This is how she looks. Of course, this is absolutely obvious because ta-da! And I think also the name fits super, super well to this. It's a beautiful palette. Also, this is, of course, the old formula of Ace Beaute. I personally never had a problem with the older formula, so for me, it was always good. So I honestly, personally, don't really feel the difference that much to the new one because I always liked it. So what, you know, can't really say then that there is a big difference if I still like it and I liked it before. But this is a beautiful palette with beautiful, nice depth, and of course the upper row to give you a little bit more softer looks. And I think this is a beautiful palette in case you want to check this one out, or you're planning to anyway pick up the Tropical Vibes palette, baby, and maybe you can just include this one because it's a very good palette. Okay, now let's talk about something that is not good. Sweeties, Melt. Millennial Pinks rings a bell. This is, I don't know. I have questions about this palette. I did review this here on my channel about a year ago maybe, when I just had gotten it, and I just really have questions about the color scheme, about the execution of this, how they put it together, but also about the formula. I am personally not a fan of the Melt formula at all in general, but there is just, I don't know what it is with that palette. It's just, it's like limping on both sides. This is how I feel about this palette, you know? So I don't know. It is just so strange. I don't know. So I would absolutely not recommend this palette. In case you have a different experience with this palette, then please let me know. I would absolutely like to be your friend because maybe I can learn something from you. Okay, now let us also talk about Pen McGrath. Now I need to figure out the name. It's so hard to read because it's like gold writing on a very busy background. I think it is the Mothership 8 Divine Rose 2. That could be. I got this at some point from my husband for my birthday, which is in August, which happens to be super close to our Valentine's Day, because we in Judaism, we don't celebrate Valentine's Day, you know? The Valentine's Day in February is not what we do. We have Tu B'Av, that is according to the Hebrew calendar. That is our kind of Valentine's Day or love dedicated day or whatever, and that's not why I got this palette, because my husband is not into stuff like that, but I got it for my birthday and this is how she looks. Also, this one, I have to say, was so hyped up in my own head that I was very disappointed when I tried it. I think these palettes are, it's makeup, and you can get stuff that is just as good or better in other brands that are way more affordable. So for me, it's like, I've used this twice, and ever since it has been lying here in my collection, and I'm thinking, wow, I could have bought so many other palettes for that money, you know? So for me, no, I'm not buying more stuff like that. Definitely not. It's just like, I don't know. Not for me. It's a beautiful palette, but is it that special that I would want to spend again and again and again money on this, like these amounts of money? Absolutely not. I will not, you know? All right, so sweeties, let's talk again about Beauty Bay, and that is the new Romantic palette. This is how she looks. Also, this one is maybe not too much pink, but it kind of has the vibe, you know? So this is how she looks. Also with this one, I have to say that the mattes are really nice. Shimmers sometimes crease on me, or I should say most of the time crease on me with all of those Beauty Bay palettes. It happens to me. I know how to fix it. It also depends a little bit on the primer that I'm using. Usually when I'm using the Natasha Denona primer, stuff creases less on me than with other primers, but that is just something that I have to to deal with now that I'm kind of getting a little bit older and stuff. So if you have experience with that, then please let us all know, because I do have an older audience and we do have a lot of the same issues, I do believe, you know. But this is the palette. Also, this one is of course a more affordable way to have a palette for Valentine's Day, in case that is something that you would like to go for. Now let me show you a brand that maybe not so many people know, and that is Perplex. Do you know that brand? This is Perplex. This is the Cyber Chic palette, and this is a very cutesy palette, also with a bit of a pink and purple color scheme. Now I have not heard from that brand ever since I bought that palette, which is probably like 3 years ago or something. They also came out with there was another palette that they launched at the same time, which was like super colorful. I also bought that one. Yeah, but that was the palette, and unfortunately I don't think they have uploaded, well, I don't know if they uploaded, but I don't think they have launched anything after that, so I don't know. But it was also quite affordable, which was really nice. Don't recall anymore what it was, but I think I do recall that it was affordable makeup, which is nice, and the performance was okay, you know. So that is what it is. In case this brand still exists, I'm going to try to of course link everything, and then you can make your own choices and check whatever is still available and whatnot. Okay, so that was the Cyber Chic palette from Perplex. We do have a couple more sweeties. We're almost done though. Okay, let us move on to DedeSignature, which is the Juicy Skewer palette from Dede. Yeah, so this is how she looks. Of course, here you also do have a really well Valentine's-y color scheme, with the exception maybe of that yellow. This one here is a gold, and everything else is of course, well, you can see. Okay, I think that her shimmer formula is actually really nice. Sometimes the mattes, some of the mattes, maybe not so much in this palette, but in the green palette there was one that felt a little bit dry, but never mind that. But I think the formula of Dede is really good, and the shimmers especially are really spectacular, especially also when you look at swatches and stuff. It's really spectacular. But this is what it is, in case you want to pick this one up. This of course comes in a bundle of, I think it's 4 palettes, 4 of the Skewer palettes, but I think maybe you can also buy them separately, so that is definitely an option. And if you're into smaller palettes, you know, then this could be something that you can use. And of course also with the addition of the yellow, I think this could be really fun, so you can put your own spin on the whole topic of Valentine's Day and stuff. So that is what it is. I also do have a code with Dede in case you want to check it out. It's also in the description box. Now I'm going to talk about the palette that I'm wearing, and that is from Gourmande Girls Cosmetics. This palette is the C'est l'Amour palette, and this is how she looks. Now this has just launched when I'm filming this. You're seeing this a bit later, but this has just launched and I received this in PR, and this is my first look that I've created with the palette. Also, this palette is of course super nice because it has the depth. It has the black in it, it has like a really striking red in it, and of course also the other shades, also some more soft options and stuff. Really nice. A beautiful duochrome. Also, this one here is a bit of a duochrome. It is like a white base with a blue shift, and then here you have of course this one, which is more like a pinkish yellow kind of a shade. So this is a very beautiful palette, and of course a review is already up or is coming up shortly. No, wait, when you're seeing this, the review is up already. So in case you're interested in this one, definitely check it out. I also do have a code with Gourmande Girls Cosmetics in case you want to use it. Okay, now let us talk about something. Okay, that is from Alter Ego. That is the Blooms palette, and this is how she looks. Now also this one here has of course a cute color scheme, which is a little bit more like mauve-y and sexy, but kind of mature also. I have to say though that I cannot agree with all those YouTubers that say that this is such a good palette, because I've heard even YouTube friends say that, and I cannot agree. I cannot agree. quality. I think the performance was not good and I would not spend the money again. I would rather save up the money and buy the original or try the original than buy another palette like this, you know. By now my collection is big enough that I don't need to like splurge on the things that don't work anymore, you know. So this is what it is. I personally cannot recommend it, but feel free to use it or to try it or whatever. I think still, bottom line, that makeup that is not on the top of its game is still better than no makeup, you know. That is my personal opinion. But would I now go ahead and buy something else from that brand unless they make a big improvement in their formula? I would probably not. Okay, sweeties, now let us talk about something that is definitely not available anymore, and that is the Wild and Pink palette from Peachy Queen. Maybe some of you have this, maybe you remember it. This is how it used to look, but this has been discontinued, of course. Yeah, and also here, of course, you do have the pinks, you do have some more neutral options and some glitters also. This one is a glitter and this one is a glitter, and this is how she looks. Okay, so overall I think this was also a very, very cute palette. I have not used it that much because I think also here the depth for me is missing. I bought this because it was on sale and I was still growing my collection and I thought that I needed to buy this. I think it was not a smart move on my side, not because this is not a good palette, but to buy something on the sale before it gets discontinued when you have a YouTube channel and you basically, it doesn't make sense to feature it afterwards anymore. It's not a smart move. But back then I didn't think that I need to think about stuff like that, you know. But overall I think if you do not need depth, then this is a okay palette. It is just that also by now I just feel like I need the drama. I need more drama in a palette. And I think also according to the name, Wild, this is not wild for me. This is safe, okay? But overall, I think it's a nice palette. So that is that. Then let's also talk about the Dreamland palette from Can Be. This is, wait, this is how she looks. Also, this one is not exactly pink, but it is, of course, like mauve tones and stuff. You can also, of course, go super soft with this one, but it does have a lot of depth. It does have a lot of drama. And I have been quite surprised in a positive way when it comes to the formula of Can Be. I know this is also just dupe products, but I think they're doing a better job than, for example, Alter Ego does. I think this formula actually works. I have several palettes from Can Be, and I have other products from Can Be, like highlighters and stuff like that, and everything has been very convincing, you know, also for the price, of course. You also have to see it in that proportion and in the connection or in the context of that. But I think there's nothing wrong with this palette. It's really, really good performance. Then let's also talk about the Sweet Shop collection from BH Cosmetics. Probably you know by now that BH Cosmetics unfortunately has filed for bankruptcy, which has been for me a huge surprise. I never thought that a giant like this would actually be brought down. But in any case, so this is from BH Cosmetics. In case there's going to be big sales now before they close shop, maybe you can still snatch this, because the Sweet Shop collection was absolutely beautiful and I so enjoyed this. I'm kind of really sad that they are calling it quits. But in any case, so this is of course the Cotton Candy palette. This was the purple pink one, and of course there's a blue one, and there are all kinds of other ones, you know, and this was the purple and pink one. And also here, of course, the performance of this whole Sweet Shop collection was so good. I really like this. So yeah, I would personally also here add more depth, but you know, that's just something, this sentence I could just copy and paste all of the time. Now, sweeties, something else that I wanted to show you, which has also been discontinued and kind of doesn't really matter now in that sense, but I still wanted to show you, is the Private Party palette from Klarity. And this is a 5-pan palette, even though it is really big, you know, but this is how she looks. And also here, it kind of gives me the vibe. It is not really a pink palette. It is not really even a mauve palette or anything. It is really just these two shades, and then the rest is Glamour, you know? And I can totally see myself going for that. So you do have, of course, just that one matte shade, then you do have two shimmer shades, and then you do have two glitter shades. And you kind of really need to know what you're doing when you're working with a palette like like this with just one matte. But in any case, I think this is really, really cool. It is very, very daring, but that is kind of really something that keeps me like being interested and keeps me on my tiptoes. And that is something at this point now, or at this stage where I'm at now, that is really, really interesting for me. So unfortunately, you will not be able to get this anymore, but yeah, they are just coming out now with the Blooms palette, or the Bloom palette, which is of course a beautiful Valentine's release, which you are going to see here on my channel as well. I don't know if it has already launched when you're seeing this, because I don't know exactly yet when this video is going live, but the Bloom palette is launching at the beginning of February. So, you know, it's either coming up like super soon, or it has launched just super recently. Okay, sweeties, this is it. This is it from me for today. I hope you did enjoy. Of course, I'm going to list all the products and the brands down in the description box, and then feel free, of course, to check out whatever you liked or whatever you didn't, and you want to do some research about it or whatever. Feel free to share if you have any of those products, and of course what your experiences with them were, and also if there is something else that you could recommend that has like a very, very pink color scheme, that could also be nice. So feel free to chat in the comments about that. I'm personally also very, very much eyeing the new release from Playing in Makeup by Yolanda, which is called, I think, Love Epidemics, the Love Epidemics palette. I'm very much debating about that one, because this is super bright palette, and I'm just really very, very much into that right now. So, but as of right now, I have not seen the whole palette yet. I just have seen a sneak peek, which was just like a part of the palette. So once I've seen the whole palette, I will definitely think about it a little bit more seriously. Okay, sweeties, this is what it is for today. Of course, check out my description box for all my discount codes that I have with the different brands, and of course also for my links for social media, and also ways to support my channel in case you wish to do so. Beyond that, don't forget to subscribe, because I would love to have you here, and I shall see you here super soon for my next video. And up until then, definitely go ahead and sparkle. Hugs and kisses. Bye.